Everybody hates that. I bet everybody hates that.
No. Oh, we're here. Is the Budrush Bellow? How is everybody doing? Jeff O in the chat. How you doing,
Jeff
buddy?
O.
What is going on, my friend? It is Wednesday night, 9:30 a.m. Not a.m., p.m. My Atlanta. Oh, my God, Gary, you're going to have to carry me through this whole podcast. I am a little bit tuned up, but that is all right. We are here. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. I had such a good week. Played some Flesh and Blood with the manager at the card shop. Booked my flight for calling Indy. I'm really having a great week.
Oh yeah, who you staying with?
Mo Bogsley.
Oh,
you can believe it or not.
Oh man, Mo Bogsley. Now, if there is someone I love, it is Mo Bogsley. There's Capolo.
Capolo, no rugby tonight.
Jeff, I wish I could say it was a work party, but it was actually something I had to go to work at. I was doing actual work at. But sometimes when I'm doing that, it is more than just hanging out. But
shots for everybody.
Shots. Well, it was beers, but
oh right, because you work for a beer company.
It was at my local bar, so they kind of they take care of me. Well, like it's one of those things where I give them a lot and they give me a lot. So I was feeling I'm feeling well. And
good. I'm happy you're feeling well. You having a good week?
It's a good week. Well, it's a busy week, right? I had a wedding on a Monday.
Who does that?
Older couples, apparently.
Oh my God.
I had a wedding on a Monday, and then I had a work event last night. I have a work event tonight. I have a work event tomorrow night. So
wow, Tommy's pressed.
It's a hell week. It's a hell week for me, the fresh lord this week. But how about you, my friend?
Yeah, it's honestly a pretty good week. Taking on a lot of projects at work. No school. It was my first week without school, so I feel like I have like 100 things to do, and then I can just hang out on my couch and play video games. Like I don't have homework to do. I don't have to
nice.
Meet up with some dumb group project.
It's nice.
You can be my group project. This is I guess a group project.
That's a quote from like a old Tom Cruise movie. I feel like it's like story. You could be my group project, but we are having fun tonight.
Yeah, man.
When do we not have fun, Gary? That's the real question. But
you know what? When I'm playing Brute, that's when.
Oh well, we'll be talking about that now. We have a great show for you this week. We have our Scabskin moment of the week. We have our what else do we have? We have Crack a Pack as always. We're gonna convince. Well, not we're gonna convince. We're gonna talk to Gary about what kind of Brute he would play, because we love Brute here on the podcast, and necessarily Gary doesn't necessarily love Brute, but we're gonna try to find out what kind of Brute he would play, and then we're gonna do our top 5 PvE end bosses.
Ooh,
pretty crazy, right?
Sephiroth, right? Oh,
is that the Final Fantasy thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I played Final Fantasy 1, and that's my favorite one.
Oh,
I tried
that's
playing
a good
others. I tried playing others, and it was like, but the problem with Final Fantasy with the other ones was they introduced story, right? And I'm very much I'm going to make my own story. Like I'm going to imagine it in my head.
Dream it up.
I'm a dreamer. I wasn't a part of the Dreamer program in the United States, but I am a dreamer. But we're going to talk about some end bosses.
We had some announcements too.
We have some announcements. We're going to do all that. And I will say that I'm very behind, and that I will be throwing it over to Gary so that I can look up stuff. in the real time. But Gary, how was your week, my friend?
It was good. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, the holidays, getting some stuff sent out for some holiday cards for some buds. Kind of just finally coming back to it. I'm really looking forward to just the 2023 and the new year. We talking to my LGS about getting a pre-release. So, planning for like what 2023 looks like at the card shop that I help out at. I'm just doing a lot of prep for 2023 right now,
I feel that. I feel that. I mean, what? So we're gonna go to indie calling.
Oh yeah,
100%.
100%.
What are you excited for the calling in Indianapolis?
Well, for calling Indy, I haven't been to Indianapolis. I went to Indianapolis when I was in like elementary school. I had my stepmom has family out there, and so when I was a little kid, we went there. But I used to be a Colts fan. I
What?
used to be a Colts fan. It was more. I didn't live in Philadelphia, and so I'm a little bit excited to go back to a place I haven't been in a while. Mostly excited to see all the buds first calling in 2023. I haven't traveled to many things. I traveled to New Jersey for Pro Tour, and I went to Charlotte, which was a big deal. I got my Charlotte hat on. I'm also very excited to meet Jeff.
Oh,
Jeff O. I'm excited to meet all the Green Tree buds. I'm excited to just hang out, and we got to make a Walmart stop. You know that.
a Walmart store?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because we need to get
Mm-hmm.
your pillow.
Yep.
Which is something that is we've been talking about on this podcast. If you've never seen it, the pillow is visceral.
It's over there. It's over there.
Where is it's over there? Very exciting. It's he's gonna grab it right now, and I'm gonna put my face back up there for you all. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right? I went to Indy last year and I had a blast. Hung out with Mo Bogsley, hung out with Josh from hometown TCG, hung out with Flake and the boys.
All the boys, all the buds.
Yeah, all the buds over there, and I got to watch Michael Hamilton win yet another thing, and that was his second calling win at that point, and
back to back.
That was a hometown one for Michael, and I imagine that he will be back at it in 2023. Do you have any early predictions for the calling Indianapolis?
I honestly feel like Reinar's going to do some work. Berserk?
What kind of work?
I don't know. He's gonna. I think he's won a calling, right? So
he won. Yeah, he won. The San Jose.
Yeah, and that was without the dynasty cards.
That's true. That's true.
So I think that Reinar, now Worlds was going on, so all the Worlds players were still playing at Worlds, and so Reinar could we'll give Reinar its day, because Reinar, he smashed for sure, but a full calling, I think Reinar could take it.
It honestly really could, and I will be interested to see what that means. It's interesting, like, right, because Berserk definitely puts the deck in a weird spot, right, where you have to build it to actually maximize your RNG, right? Which is like almost the opposite of what you want to do in a competitive setting. But Berserk kind of mitigates it in a way, but also can fall victim to the very same RNG that you're trying to, I guess, maximize. So, it will be interesting.
With a lot of those Berserk cards, they don't block too, right? So it's like, okay, so you could have a sick berserk turn with no cards that block in your hand, and then the opponent's playing dash, and then they hit you for 4, and then they play pulse wave harpoon, and then put your berserk right in front of it.
Yeah, which is like the worst thing that could happen, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, well, dash in general is going to be an issue. I think this
Yeah.
ProQuest season and Indianapolis. I mean, I'm there will be a ban and restricted announcement before Indy, but I personally, from where I'm standing, where I'm sitting and talking,
living,
breathing, name it, I'm doing it all. I do not think that there will be anything that changes. Do you think there's anything that changes?
So I remember I don't know if you remember this, but going into Everfest at Philly, we were prepping hard for Dash. We had the what is it, Smashing Good Time in our sideboards. I don't know. I had it in my sideboard, and I think it might be time to bring it back.
Well, I
think what's going to change is people are going to be able to deal with Dash a bit more than they were able to do at Battle Hard in Philly. Because Capolo in the chat says, don't worry about Dash, but I think a lot of us are worried about Dash. I need to get my Dash reps in because Dash got a lot of heat. Lot of heat. Not a lot of mecha heat.
Sure.
You know, but we got a lot of cards that are just really make her pop off. The Hanabi Blaster is not as impactful, I think, in CC as the pistol. Just the pistol keeps Dash so pivotal. But if I might have to play some Smashing Good Times, you know how much I love to do those off creepers.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, first of all, I want to address Capolo in the chat saying that we should not worry about Dash. I've made a career of not listening to Capolo, so I will continue not to, and I will be worrying about Dash. But Copy Cody, however, says don't worry about Dash. I meat axe smashed a couple matches against Dash last night. I actually think Reinar is in a great spot against Dash.
Yeah.
Which is, hey, listen, anytime Brute's in a great spot, I'm happy. I would prefer Levi to be in a great spot. I actually don't think Levi is in a great spot against Dash because Pulse Wave Harpoon can be the silver bullet in that matchup, right? They are like, okay, reveal your hand. Oh, well, let me take the card that will turn off Blood Debt easily. And it's tough to say. Hello, Mara.
Oh, Mara's in the chat. Is Mara going to the Calling Indy?
Mara, are you going to Calling Indianapolis? We all want to know.
We're all waiting.
What would you sleeve up right now?
Oh, come on. No question. Purple Man all the way. Purple Man all the way, and there's no changes. Mara, we haven't even gotten to Crack a Pack yet. You're good. We're just talking about what we're gonna do for the Calling, maybe. Oh yeah, Tommy is pretty cool. Tommy's pretty cool. Don't wanna let that forgotten in chat.
Tommy is also pretty drunk, so we are.
Tommy's and I'm sipping a Vadi Wadi for the potty.
Listen, Vadi Wadi for the potty. That's something that when I came up with the Budrush Bellow, I'm thinking we need to make more rhymes, and Gary brings the rhymes, and along with the rhymes, he brings the good times. So
yeah, gonna play some Morty Borty.
Okay, relax. No, kidding. Speaking of rhymes, for anybody listening or watching or not even watching, like in the real time, because these VODs exist and people listen after the fact, please subscribe. At 500 subby wubbies, I will be cosplaying as adult Levi, full adult Levi. I'm not kidding. And Gary's gonna be cosplaying as the rabbit that she killed. So
I'll just pour Kool-Aid all over myself.
Yeah. We haven't talked about that one off air, but we're talking about it now. Give us the old subby wubby, and also check out the Patreon. which you can find in the show notes. And also a brand new way you can support the podcast and the Buds Nation is
Dun, dun, dun.
to buy merchy.
Merch.
You buy merch. So through our friend Jeff O, who's in chat right now, we are able to provide merch. So I'm going to show it to you right now. We got some cool stuff. You can get the the Bud bundle. Of course, there is Rune Chant nonsense there. I was pretty hands off here, as you can tell. But you can get a beanie. There is long sleeve shirts with the Big Buds Energy. That also comes with. I guess I don't know if I can show the back of it on
yeah, if you scroll down, you can see. So I'll take it here if you want me to.
Wait, it's actually not showing it to me.
Oh, if you scroll down?
Yeah.
Oh, there should be. Okay, there was one with the back on it. But if you click.
Maybe I'll click it. I'll give it the old clicky wiki.
Clicky wiki the crew neck, I think.
Oh,
or
the crew neck. Okay.
The crew neck. Jeff, you have to remind me which one has maybe the long sleeve. Do the long sleeve one right there at the top.
Click the long sleeve. Oh, there we go. On the back.
Yes.
You're going to have Fresh and Buds and the Budrush Bellow. Fresh and Buds, if you don't know, if you only tune into this, is my other podcast where I have guests on every week.
There it is.
Coming up tomorrow, we have John from Fluke and Box. You might know him from Funder. You might know him from his own channel, Fluke and Box. And next week, we have Jim from Fat TCG Cards. And the week after, to close out the year, we have Hayden Dale, who is a random New Zealander. Random Kiwi that definitely does not have a bigger podcast than me. And, he's just the sweetest, most attractive man there is.
No questions.
No questions. I do have a podcast, Mara. You were on an episode. And it was good.
It was a great one.
It was great.
Yeah.
People loved it.
Yeah, and so just to give some details while we have the page still up, we're taking orders for the next 3 weeks.
Sure.
So you guys can, figure out what you want to do with your Christmas money. Obviously no preshy weshy to buy some merch, but we're going to be closing the orders, I believe, January 4th. And once we have all of our orders in, we'll get the orders shipped out to you directly. It'll be shipped directly from Jeff's little shop at Yinzer, Pennsylvania.
Yinzer?
And should be there in time for you guys to have it for the Calling Indie. So Tommy and I are going to be rocking the merch.
Yeah, I hope so. We're going to rock some merch. And goddamn, are we going to look good in it, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
We're
so
gonna look good.
Yep, and we'll talk about this a bunch in the Buds Discord if anybody has any questions. But you can put your sizes in, special, whatever you want to do. We've got, I think it's up to 4XL, small, and maybe there's an extra small to 4XL. So for that 3-week window, you can order whatever size, whatever item you want, and then at the end of that, you'll get it shipped directly. So it's made to order, and yeah, gonna be great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get so much. I'm gonna get a hoodie. I'm gonna get a beanie.
Well, that's because you have a problem, Gary.
I do have a problem. I have so many hats, and I'm already ordering. I have 2 orders with Jeff coming after January for personal things. So,
well, I am excited to wear it myself, and I hope it fits my voluptuous body, and I am excited, and it's awesome. I will post it in the Buds Discord as like an announcement. I will throw it into the pinned nonsense. Patrick Shaw says Gary rocking the clit support. Of course.
Yeah.
Mara is, Mara, who we had just mentioned was on the Fresh and Buds podcast, says it's going to be filming with the Table Pit. Shout out to the Table Pit doing some great Ultimate Pit Fight content out there. And shout out to Mara. doing the best altars in the game. How about that?
Yeah.
Um.
The best altars in the game that also feature arcane script.
Oh. Did Jeff make your Viz pillow? Actually, no, Jeff did not, but I'm sure he would have at some point.
Oh, Jeff would have. And if I ever need a new one, I know where to go.
Pat says, been talking too much with Carolina, which is something that I would advise most people to try out at least once or twice, because Carolina is just a wonder and a enigma in this wonderful community. Now, Gary.
Yeah.
Do you want to crack some packs?
Well, we'll see how many packs we crack.
All right. So let's roll some dice. We got 3 packs of Dynasty. You got the Gambler's Gloves out already.
I got them out.
We got 3 packs of Dynasty. Searching for my first Fable.
Okay.
See if it ever comes. But
if you've ever been here before, we're going to roll this dice. And whatever we roll, then we're going to open that many action points as if we were rolling Gambler's Gloves. And if we don't like it, we can crack this Gambler's Gloves, and we'll have one more chance to roll. So let's here it is.
Let's go. Hit me.
Oh,
well, you got to roll the Gambler's Gloves now.
You got to pop them. Pop it. Tom, get yours ready just in case.
Oh, jeez. Please, do not roll. 4?
2
packs.
2 packs.
2 packs, folks. Listen, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here for the second time, why? No, no, we're gonna crack some packs. I'm looking for my first Fabled ever. I've never cracked a Fable. There's an interesting dichotomy between me and Gary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
one of us is very bad at the game. Just kidding.
Well, we'll leave that one up to the viewers and listeners to decide on who is who. There's the interesting dichotomy between me and Gary. Gary started this game by opening a Fabled, and I chose to play the game without a Fabled ever in my hand.
How could you do? Well, not ever.
Well, I guess I own 2 now.
Yeah, the 2 best Fables of all time.
In my opinion. All right, let's crack this, John.
These.
Charles says, let's go Fable. We got 2 chances here, Charles. All right. Key unleashed, blue. Let's just say the key is going to stay leashed tonight.
You're doing this for each of the cards, then?
Blue, reinforced steel. Let's just say, I don't know. We didn't steal that one. Rumble. Now here is a card that reminds me of my everyday life. Rumble Grunting, red. If you discard a card with 6 or more this turn, so you can only play it if you already discard something. This is a bad card. Of course, they're giving brute bad cards. What else is new? Tempest Aurora. I know a certain bud who lives in Aurora, Colorado. I'm not gonna say who.
Pat says, move the cards close to the mic so he can listen in at his quiet time.
You hear that one, buddy? You hear that? That is a yellow runic reaping.
Oh, baby. What a mediocre card. Mediocre.
We're into the assassin slots. Fleece the Frail. FTF, baby. Not good. At yellow it's not that great. Nyx the Nimble at blue. A fine card at blue, I guess. We're going to say no to that one. We do have
gotta respect the alliteration.
We don't have to respect it, but foil Blessing of Aether.
Ooh.
Yellow. There was some hope for this card. I don't know where
still might be.
I don't know where the hope went, but there was hope. Blessing of Spirits. Actually, we have 3 blessings in a row. We're very blessed. Blessing of Spirits, red.
Hashtag.
Start your turn. Make 3 spectral shields as ward 1. And then Blessing of Ingenuity.
That's a good one. What color?
Red.
Ooh.
I beat that deck. Actually, that's gonna come up here in a few seconds for the Scabskins moment of the week. Not a few seconds, a few minutes. We have another pack.
He's zooming through it. He's zooming through the pack.
Zoom. You remember those commercials for Mazdas? Zoom.
Yeah, my dad had a Mazda, and whenever we got in, he would say, zoom. Not every time, just sometimes.
Let's crack another pack, shall we?
Let's do it. We earned that action point.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, nice. Give it a crumple.
Oh wait. Sorry. Listen, hey, if that tickles your fancy, check out the Patreon.
Can confirm.
I know, I'm kidding. I don't do anything too crazy over there, unless people want that. Felling Swing. I like this card quite a bit, but it's not good. Like most of the cards I like, they are not good. This is a red one, warrior action. You can give your next axe attack this turn +6. Pretty wild.
How much does it cost? 2?
3.
3.
Not a good amount.
That's a lot of money.
Madcap Charger, which at the red comes in at 5. You want to play the blue, so we're not playing the red. In my opinion, my humble opinion. Either Slash, the Briar card here.
It's not very good.
It's not the best. Not the best.
The only difference between Singeing Steel Blade and that is you can hit a dragon, and it's optional, or you don't always get it.
There's a lot. Actually, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but there's a lot of dragons flying around these days. Long shot, blue, whatever, boring, ranger card. If long shot has an aim counter, has +2. A 0 for 3. Come on, guys. Hyperdriver, blue.
We got more. We used to have 1, but now we have 3.
Listen, here's the thing. Hyperdriver, you're gonna have to play.
Gonna have to.
If you're doing the mechanoid nonsense, which is not good, by the way.
So if you're choosing something that's not good, you have to play a good card? Bad card.
Good in the deck, bad. It's good in the bad deck, so bad.
But it's good in the bad deck.
Cut to the chase, red. Great card.
Oh, great card.
Sack the Shifty, red.
That's the go again one?
Yeah, there's a lot of base go against still flying around.
Oh yeah.
Some bad packs here. We have a foil red Prognosticate. Speaking of Prognosticate, I'm getting older. And I need to get my Prognosticate checked.
Yeah. Is it coming up? You have it scheduled, or
no?
Is it in the ether? You just need to.
I don't go to the doctor. Not anymore because I owe them a lot of money. Searstone.
Orb.
Cool card. Not
Orb.
Good. Aether Quickening. Yellow. Cool. Actually Aether Quickening is gonna be a card that's like good in like 3 years. If that makes sense.
So Tom, I got a question for you. Is this the last card in the pack?
That was the last card in the pack.
Okay. How do you feel that your predictions during you and Bill's episode of Dynasty spoilers, how do you feel like your ratings are holding up? I know you did a lot of them. Was there anyone that you regret saying was good, saying was bad?
I'm going to be honest with you, Gary.
Tell me.
I say things and I don't remember them because people will be like, what was up with that rating? I don't know. Berserk.
Spur of the moment.
I think in my opinion, I don't remember. I don't know if I felt the power of Berserk yet when I gave it a rating, but
okay.
I am a lot further down on Berserk these days, if that makes sense. But I don't remember if I was as high on Berserk. I do need to steal some of Logan's pack luck next time, Charles. I need to steal a lot from Logan. I'm gonna just steal his whole collection next time I see him, and I'm gonna kiss him on the lips, because I love him. But, geez, I don't know. Why? What are you thinking about question in particular?
No, I'm just curious. As you go through the cards, like Felling Swing, right? I love that card, but It's bad.
Yes.
I think I want to read. I think we should revisit the reviews at some point.
Yeah, we could do that. We definitely need. I should start documenting the grades on the reviews. Now, you have to understand with the reviews, there's a certain amount of nuance, right? Because there is some stuff, especially in the supplemental sets, where we're like, this will be good.
Yeah.
Not now, but at some point it will. Like something like Cleave is not good now, but at some point will be very good, I believe. I still believe that. And even like Blue Felling Swing seems like whenever we get the Merciless Battle Axe Warrior, those are cards that you're going to be like, okay, these are like nuts for the deck.
Yeah.
But there are certain cards in like Uprising where maybe we brushed over a little bit too quickly. Like there's some Phi cards, right? Some Phi commons. Like I clearly remember be like, yeah, you're just gonna play them.
Right.
Because that's what the deck does. And that's like almost like something that's tough about Flesh and Blood, because there is a lot of like bread and butter cards, as you know, in like Viscerai. Like it's not good. Like, the cards aren't good, but like all of a sudden you're playing it in Viscerai and it's still not good.
Right. Well, I also want to say I love Looming Doom, but we're just not there yet. That's what I was gonna call out that, I came in really hot on Looming Doom. I love it. I'm still playing one in my deck because I think it's good. But I was coming in really hot, on Looming Doom, and I could see where I went a little aggressive.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty excited about that card, and that's just something that happens. Now, let's get to the Scabskin moment of the week.
Yeah, tell me.
So, the Scabskin moment of the week has evolved into basically a story about whatever brute nonsense I've been up to this week. And this week I was playing a little bit. I was actually on the horn with Capolo.
On the horn.
I was in the Buds Discord, which you can find in the show notes. Should be hanging out there. I was in Hangout with Capolo. And I just started playing some Talishar because I was pulling an all-nighter because I wanted to watch some cricket on Australian time. I regret it. I'm very tired right now. But that's okay. It was a lot of fun. It was a great match. I was playing Talishar. I was on Rhinar, and I played against a Dash. And I'm like, oh, this will be good practice until you see like they're playing Hanabi Blaster and all the cards that you need for Mechanoid. Now, I enjoyed the Mechanoid for the upside, right? I think the card is very cool. It gives like the fun Dash players like an option, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. And that's really awesome, and it opens up deck building, which I think is Flesh and Blood. Not weakness, but like that is the thing that I look forward to in Flesh and Blood the most, as we kind of include more cards and have more supplemental sets, is the deck building, right?
Yeah.
And
pretty light right now.
It's light. Well, it's light, but it's also like, I think Dynasty, and some people might disagree, but I think Dynasty was a home run in that aspect because it gave a lot of decks different archetypes while still supplementing the current archetypes. While the other archetypes aren't as good, but something like Kitty Katsu is better than the traditional version of Katsu, because why not just play Phi, right?
Right.
And I think that's really cool. But all that aside, Devin, awesome. I'm glad you got your Romping Club membership card, which you can find via the Patreon to go chill in the Buds Discord at the Romping Club channel. But Gary, what was I talking about?
You were talking about how deck building
sure.
variety within heroes is Flesh and Blood's weakness, and I fully agree.
It's weakness, but it's getting better as we get more sets. Right, we are in the beginning, so it's like we can't really be mad at that, right? Because you can only put out so many cards.
Put out too many cards, and then you have too many cards.
Yeah, you put out too many product releases. All of a sudden, what do you? Wizards of the Coast. But I played against a Mechanoid deck, and I just want the folks at home, and this is my Scabskin moment of the week, is to realize if you're not playing Brute, playing non-blocks is not where you want to be. It's not good. Like items are cool. Items are very good in Dash. However, when you play the Mechanoid version, you have to play a critical mass of non-blocks, and that is so
punishing.
Brutal.
It's so punishing
in this meta. Like if things slow down, right? If things are like super slow, and they won't be, as long as it would take like a lot of heroes going LL at the same time for the meta to truly slow down to a point where Mechanoid currently is a viable option. But yeah, it was pretty bad because, well, against Reinhardt, sure. I mean, it probably against any aggro deck, Mechanoid is going to have trouble. But again, it's funny against Reinhardt. It's like all of a sudden you're left with the only non-block in hand. And you're just like, I gotta block it. But I won by 20 points, right? 20 points of health.
Yeah.
And I want the folks to take it home, say, hey, listen, I'm gonna play cards that block.
Yeah.
And I know you like that.
Well, here's the thing. I have a counterpoint to that.
Okay.
I think that those items do block arcane damage. So, if you are expecting Kanos or expecting to have to pitch to Rune Chance,
sure,
those items actually do block.
That's true. It's true, man.
Because as you were saying, I knew where you were going with it. That like Reinhardt's coming in and you've intimidated away all their blocks, and they only have 2 hyperdrivers, right? But if I'm attacking you with Rosetta Thorn or Rosetta Thorn for 10, right? You can just pitch those items away. So that's actually a boon if you're playing against Rune Blades.
You got a great point, and I'm going to ignore it because I'm all about physical melee damage. Like we're gonna get outsiders. Now Mara says I'm just saying Prism might disagree with not running a bunch of non-blocks. Now I will say, Mara, well, Prism's not in CC anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. But also, it's a little bit different. I understand where you're coming from. It is a little bit different when your non-blocks can go out at instant speed, right?
Right.
As opposed, items severely have a disadvantage to those auras that do not block, which it's a great point because, like, you can sometimes win games against Prism sometimes because they just don't have any block in hand, but also those auras are actually a huge degree more powerful than items in Dash, in my humble opinion. Now, I am not a to quote Forrest Gump, I am not a smart man. But that's my opinion, and that's the whole point. I guess the whole point of having a podcast is to spew our opinions and people to roast us for them. Now,
I mean that's what your podcast is, right?
Fresh and no, I let other people spew their opinions, and then I'm like, and then people respond to it like, I can't believe they said that. I'm like, me neither. That was crazy. I was there. Devin says, I'd love to see some iteration of a show where Fisserai is firing Rune Chance at another hero who is just lobbing potions in defense. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I mean, an energy potion in hand is three arcane barrier, you know?
An energy potion in hand is worth 2 in the bush. That's what I've always said. Anyway, hey, we're gonna get to our main topic here, and Mar does make good points about Prism. You know, Prism's just a problem. Let's just agree there. But let's get to the main topic. So I thought it'd be funny to kind of like design a brute that Gary would play, because Gary is very much a Viserai main, as we all know. Loves Rune Blades, and
I like tough decisions.
You like tough decisions. So, you know, and we had chatted before, and Gary said, it's like, oh, he really enjoyed my episode of Fresh and Buds with Josh Lau, because we talked about warriors, and that's all a lot about tough decisions. Now, what would a brute look like that presents tough decisions? Now, okay, so we had the 2 brutes we have now. Rhinar, a lot of intimidate. Basically,
tough decisions.
It's tough decisions, but sometimes it's just no decisions, right? You're just like,
right, yeah.
You don't have anything to block with. You have nothing to make a decision about. I'm smashing for 6. Levia is how much of this do I want to block? How much of the, like, Levia probably has more tough decisions than Rhinar, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you're presenting like a high damage output, and you have to present your opponent with the decision, well, can I outlast them to the point where they die to their own blood debt, right?
Right.
And when they make that decision, they either when they decide that they can, they block, right? They're like, okay, well, I'll just block this 6. Or if they decide that it's like, well, I need to race them, they won't block, and then they just try to smash face. So what would a brute what is a brute that makes you have hard decisions? And I wanted to pass it over to you, Gary, first, because based on what we know about brutes, is we know it always cares about 6 power. So what is a mechanic, in your opinion, and then I'll give you my opinion, that, of course, obviously, I'm a very opinionated guy. What is your opinion of a mechanic of that deals with 6 power that would make it interactive?
Yeah, so in thinking about this, I'm kind of want to call back to the which I did not realize that this mechanic was pretty much named across cards, but I'm going to call it the barraging mechanic.
Sure.
The barraging mechanic, if you're not familiar, which I wasn't familiar until 10 minutes before the show, is if the opponent is blocking with less than 2 non-equipment cards, an attack gets an effect. So barraging Bighorn is an attack that if you attack, it gets +1. Barraging Brawnhide, is that the one? Oh, Bighorn's the go again one, right?
Yeah.
Brawnhide's the other one.
And then it gets a buff.
Yep. Barraging Bighorn's the one that gains go again, and barraging Beatdown is one that intimidates first, and then you get that effect. So you get +4 if the card is not blocked by 2 or more non-equipment cards. I think personally that effect on a hero, like if you attack with an attack with 6 or more power, you get a barraging Beatdown effect. You get +3.
That's interesting.
So like if I attack with a 7, right? And you have to block it with 2 cards to make it be a 7. But if you don't block it with 2 cards, I hit you for 10. And that, just having that option, like no other ability other than just a +3. It could be, honestly, if that was a brute legendary glove, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Like if your 6 attack is not blocked, like barraging Gauntlet or something, or barraging Hand Wrap, or barraging Crushers or something like that, right? Where if you attack with the card that has 6 or more power, if it's not defended by 2 or less equipment card, 2 or more equipment cards, it gets +1. right? Something like that. Maybe give it blade break. Something like that makes every attack matter much more to the opponent than it does to you. Because you're putting it in their shoes, and you're saying, like, the reason why I like Runeblade so much is Rosetta Thorn is 2 damage physical, 2 damage arcane. The reason I like, Rune Chance is that they're just sitting there on the battlefield, and whenever I decide to attack you, that's just damage you have to deal with. And on hits, meet and greet, consuming volition. If this hits, you get it. You're screwed, pretty much. Meet and greet's one of my favorite cards because, if you've made a bad decision of taking the arcane damage earlier on in the turn, this has go again. If it hits, it gets another rune chant. It basically is just compounding bad decisions, right? If we got a legendary brute glove that said, rather than big gambler's gloves, it said you get the barraging effect, that would really get me interested in brute, especially in blitz. Like if you got that glove on Rhinar, I feel like that would be kind of insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could just play a lot more control heavy, and your matchup into aggro would be so good. Like you would essentially be dealing with, like, aggro would have to block 2 cards in their hand in order to not take a bunch of damage. And then if you're also you also have a good matchup into Guardian then, because if Guardian blocks with one, like if you have attacking an Oldhim, right? And you have a hero ability that says this 6 is a 9 unless they block with 2 cards. Well, an Earth React and an Ice React is not a block with a card.
Sure.
That is a defense reaction on the hero. Blocking with an unmovable is only blocking with 1 card.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about you, but I know that one of your worst matchups was Prism, right? Or was it it's Oldhim? Which one was Levia's worst matchup? It was Oldhim, right?
Oldhim was brutal.
Why was it brutal?
Just because they could block to a point where you could like die to your own blood debt. Now, like Levi is just like a different beast, right? Mm-hmm. Because the blood debt kind of thing is changes everything, unfortunately. Right. But no, I like what you're saying, but I would say that the effect that you're talking about would be like, especially on an equipment, it could not be generic brute, because I actually think that would make Rhinar too good, right? It would have to be a talented brute effect for whichever new brute is printed, right? Because the problem with Rhinar, like the issue with Rhinar, is Rhinar can pretty consistently intimidate the whole hand. All of a sudden, you're always getting that.
Yeah, that +1.
That +1 or whatever, and whatever effect from barraging nonsense, and then Rhinar gets too good. But if you print a brute that is talented, like let's say we go back to the Savage Lands, and I always think about what is the talent from the Savage Lands, and I always think Primal is going to be like is a good name, right? I don't know what it will do, but Primal is a good way to talent the Savage Lands, whether it's brute or another kind of thing. But no, I like what you're saying with the barraging beatdown or barraging mechanic, essentially, which isn't a mechanic but is.
It's only in the names, right?
Yeah,
it's all the names of the cards have that effect. But
would you be open to them introducing barraging or barrage as a mechanic that they can print on cards? It would actually make the mechanics of the game work a little bit more smoothly, and especially in like printing like text and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually really like that because like you swing big, right? Sure. Swing big is like, I know you the joke you do is when you play swing big, you present the quicken token.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta do. What are you gonna do? Huh? What are you gonna do? I don't love swing big.
I will say that I started doing that because so many Oldham players were throwing the frostbite underneath their
Yep. Right.
their winter's whale. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
want to do that. I want to do it with my cards. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't love swing big because that like in that you're giving your opponent a benefit.
Sure.
In this situation, like your opponent has to calculate if +3 is worth blocking. So, like, okay, Command and Conquer, right? Command and Conquer in that deck, or Enlightened Strike. Think of okay, if you have a glove that gives +1, right? Every one of your 6s attacks for 7, unless they block with 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does is basically say this is a 7, which you can block with 2 cards, but it's going to have a break point, and if you block with armor and a defense reaction, it's still going to be an extra 1. Mm-hmm. If you block with like so putting like this extra 1 arcane ethereal rampaging barraging damage on top of just an effect, I think for me it gives me that bit of control over like what, not control, because control is you're making the decision for your opponent, but pressure on the other player to have to make a decision. And oftentimes, like if you do intimidate, right? If you what's the one Smash Instinct, right? Smash Instinct.
Mm-hmm.
That intimidates
automatically. Yeah. It's included in the cost.
Yeah. So of like attacking with Smash Instinct, intimidating, if your hero or you have an effect that's barraging, they have to block with 2 cards in their hand, and they're down to a 2-card hand, right? To get that to lose that effect. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I know that barraging beatdown when I played Welcome to Wraith is one of the best cards in the whole draft environment, because
it can be,
yeah, right. If Reinar's open, which it usually is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree that it should probably be talented, because Levia doesn't need anything else.
Oh my god! Why I wanna? This guy, I'm just gonna kick him off this podcast. Oh my god! No, but Ryan, you're right. Reinar doesn't need anything, but Levia, sure, she needs something. But Levia's not going to get like real support until the hero itself is reprinted into a different version, or Shadow as a like talent, just like generic Shadow cards are printed. But no, I do want to kind of go back to the swing big mechanic, right? Yeah. If this doesn't hit, get an effect. You say it's a benefit, right? I think this is the brilliance of swing big. It's not in my humble opinion. So like it can be sure. In some decks, maybe like you can really make use of it, like Dorinthia, right? Block out the swing bag all day. But in most decks, I do not think that they can make swing big as much of a benefit as it might seem, right? Because when you think about it, it's like you're committing 2 cards. Sometimes, you have to commit 3 cards or 2 cards and equipment, typically. And so if you have 2 cards left in hand, if they do the equipment route, right? How often can you get used to that quicken token, right? You might have to have a arsenal card, or maybe I don't know. You attack with something that costs 2, and then maybe swing Rosetta, but like the Rosetta is only coming in for 2, and that's just not really that optimal. And
put them in a tough spot, right?
Like puts them in a tough spot, and then they have to wait a whole turn, right? A whole nother turn to really get value out of it. And I kind of, I mean, this might be like a little aside on the brilliance of swing big, is it kind of puts a kind of a idea into your opponent's head that's like, I gotta really make use of this Quicken
Mm,
token that I got, which is
okay.
almost kind of like the Viscerai kind of like interaction that I know you like. Like you like your opponent's like thinking, like
Yeah.
and you're just like and Dromai can Mara says Dromai can abuse the hell out of the Quicken token.
Yeah.
Is it
Dragons.
dragons are ally? Can do they get the
Hmm.
go again off of Quicken tokens? I don't know. I thought it was attacks or weapon attacks, but or attack actions and
Hmm.
weapon attacks, but I don't know. We can get confirmation. Mara would know better than any of us, but I kind of enjoy that kind of mind game that you present your opponent
Yeah.
because then they're like, well, I'm not going to do anything this turn because they blocked out for this Quicken token, and dragons
Yeah.
don't consume it. So
Right.
I mean, I guess like
So
yeah,
miraging. So miraging can have go again then. If you play
like
that.
you're like each striker dust up. That makes sense. Dust up, man. That card's way better than I ever thought it would be. Now that's a card. If you want to go back to my reviews, I was like, yeah, it's fine. No, that card's insane. I look at that card coming at me. I'm like, I hate my life. But no, Swing Big's basically what I want to say is Swing Big's awesome. And that's actually a mechanic I would like to see more of. Much like the
Yeah.
barraging. It's like, hey, if this doesn't hit, you get something that might be good, might not be.
Yeah, you got me thinking about this actually, because I guess I never thought about I think about how like blocking arcane damage is like taking a card out of their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in the same way, Swing Big is kind of taking a card out of their hand in the same way that arcane damage is. But I think that the opportunity cost of that 8 for 2,
Mm-hmm.
that the opponent could take advantage of that, like Mara is saying. Certain decks just won't play an attack that turn or just charge up. Maybe Oldhim just makes some sort of plays Channel Lake Frigid and then decides to charge up for next turn, right? Like
Yeah.
I think maybe the Quicken token is too much for me to be into it, but I really like the theory of where you're going with this because it really is taking a card away from them, and it does make them think about their next turn as well, right? So, yeah,
Sure.
no, I think you bring up a good point. I think I would need to see more iterations of it, but for now, I think the brute mechanic that I like the most is that barraging mechanic.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean, we've only seen it really. I think swing to my knowledge, like the on no hit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Swing big is the only thing that I can think of. You know, I but like I like that idea that present an attack that will require you to take a turn off
Yeah.
for
No.
maybe something. I kind of like that. So that I mean, I'm sure that's something they're going to explore. I mean, we've talked a lot. We haven't had a brute since
Yeah.
since Monarch, and I think we're very likely to get one in Outsiders. But I think we're kind of on track with what kind of brute you would play, Gary. I think.
Yeah, I think that the way that the brutes are kind of outlined in Outsiders, they're kind of bullies, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're like these gangs, these bullies, right? So I could see them pitching into that,
Yeah.
into this like pay this block tax, right? Like you need to have two buddies around in order for you to be able to actually prevent the damage of this. I could see like if barrage, whatever you want to call it, is the mechanic for Outsiders. I mean, not only are we American prophets at this point, but like Joseph Smith.
Yes.
But I would think that, yeah, I think that would really get me interested. Because I really don't have a hero in Blitz right now. I really want to learn the Emperor. I think the Emperor could be my hero in Blitz. I know that as much as that's going to make you question my ethics as a player, but
Listen, I just don't like monarchies typically.
oh yeah.
Just,
Well,
I'm a red-blooded American.
Hell yeah! But yeah, I think that the idea that the warrior weapon mechanic popping off with some arcane damage, like you don't know what's coming, right?
Sure.
And so, I could get into Rhinar and Blitz.
Oh, Rhinar and Blitz is incredible.
Yeah, I think like Rhinar and Blitz could be where I'd go with this. But if we got a barraging, like I don't know, Rhinar barraging gangster or something. I don't know, Rhinar barraging something, and then his ability is just that effect.
Yeah,
I could really get into it.
Yeah, I think something like that, or even like what if they had a weapon, right? Like like a bat, like with nails in it, or something like that. Because like the blockheads mentioned bats. I think we talked about this last week. But
clubs.
What if you're like, this bat is just like it's 1 for 3 or maybe 2 for 3, which is a terrible rate. But it says if you've attacked with a 6 base attack or more this turn, this has the pummel text, like +1, and if it hits, discard a card, or maybe that might even be too good. It could just be like, if this hits, discard a card, because then it's getting a card regardless, which would be kind of cool. So you're playing like wild rides and pulpings and then rolling scabskins to go do some nonsense, which would be kind of neat. But
yeah, club would be nice. A new club. That's a bat with a that's got me thinking. Maybe I gotta shuffle up a little Rhinar here. Put the gambler's gloves in a deck box, not just leave it as a coaster.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, this is a great time to yet again plug the Patreon, where you can get access to the Romping Club, which is a Patreon exclusive channel in the Buds Discord, which you can find in the show notes. But let's go to the Fresh Five. We chatted for quite a bit. It's like this happens when I drink, which I'm sobering up. So it's time to get serious.
I can hear it.
It's time to get serious about some PvE. So PvE is definitely coming this next coming year.
Oh yeah,
in one form or another.
Is it the professors? Maybe.
God, it's hard to say. So I do want to take a moment to shout out Flake and the Instant Speed podcast. If you want to check out his interview with the professor.
It was a great episode. I loved that one.
If you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, you know the professor. And actually, it's something that turned me around the professor, because I was traditionally not a fan of the professor. Because when I played Magic, he covered a space that I had no interest in, right?
Commander, right?
Yeah, Commander, and the casual side of the game. Not to say that I was uber competitive, but the casual side of Magic was never really that interesting to me. But it makes sense for what he's doing with Flesh and Blood. But PvE might be coming this coming year. I hope it is. And PvE, for those who don't know, is a way to play the game where kind of like all these heroes will team up against one kind of thing. So we're not going to discuss what that might be. It could be like a deck you can buy that you flip cards off the top, or there's just like a sheet in which you kind of follow the rules to try to beat the end boss. But I want to talk about end bosses. So I want to talk about like our top 5 end bosses to fight in PvE, because that's kind of like a fun thing to reach, right? It's like, the thing, like your quest has to have like
a climax.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's also like it has to have a pinnacle.
Peak?
No, it has to have like levity, right? There has to be consequences for not like in theory, like lore wise, there has to be consequences for why you need to beat this end boss. So
okay,
you can't just be like, oh, there's a dragon at the end, right? It's like,
that's not very top down.
Yeah, it's not very top down. You want to go in the top down. So what are some end bosses you like to fight in Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, so I have a few here. I don't really think that the five is going to be it's going to be a rough estimate this
Sure,
time
sure,
around.
sure.
But do you remember when we were talking when on your episode you had Dead Summer on? Was talking about the Easter,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
they're
yeah.
called. I think the Easter are bad, dude. I think they're bad, and maybe that's just because I'm a Runeblade player, and the whole like shadow idea is that the gods that people believe in the real world of Wraith are good, but the people believe that they're good, but the shadow people believe that they're bad. Um, I think that's going to be true, and like the idea of looming doom. Maybe this is all just super biased, but the idea of looming doom as like this giant beast destroying Solana,
Mm-hmm.
like is that a beast that is defending Solana? Is that a beast that's attacking Solana? Like there's people dying in the background, right? And Solana, there's this giant beast. But what do we know? What do we know about Soul other than this is a people thing that people believe in? What do we know about this dragon that the Emperor got his powers from? What do we know about Fyendel, right? The Fyendel's Spring Tunic, but like we don't know who Fyendel is. And I think that these mystical giant beasts that so either here's where my head's at. Either the PvE campaign is you are playing as, you could play as a rogue or whatever, trying to fight a necromancer, right? Like a giant big necromancer at the end of a battle could be that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could fight this, you're fighting zombies, fighting this, and then you need to, in order to end the zombie raid, like in the that one article where Minerva got captured, like maybe you fight that necromancer. But that would be very much one off, right?
Sure.
These Aesers seem like ever powerful beasts that can't really be defeated. Do you know how, like, I don't know if you played much during like the Emrakul, like Kozilek, like these Eldrazi beasts,
Sure,
how
sure.
they live outside this realm and they come in and you can beat them, but you can't really beat them.
Yeah, they come back.
They come back, right? One of them's in the moon, that kind of thing. I would like to see these as my PvE end bosses because, like, there could be an occurrence that just happens in Wraith, right? And nobody knows what it is, right? Maybe the Solanian army goes and like fights this dark monster from the Aetherial or whatever. I forget what Dead Summer called them. Like, I kind of want to either have. I'm all over the place here because
It's
when I
okay.
when I saw when I saw this question, I was like, oh, I really either want to see this battle versus light, what the light sees as the enemies, and what the dark sees as the enemies.
Sure.
You following me here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes
So
sense.
so like I either want to see my first one would be like a necromancer kind of like one off, like okay, we're doing this mission, but that would be more from like the generic Solanian, like regular citizen of Wraith perspective, right? Who's the villain to each of these regions? But what's important is that the villain in each of those regions is not the people that, and the reason I like Flesh and Blood is the villain from one region is often the hero in another. And so why I like the Demonastery is because they do have a differing perspective on what soul is, what the people are believing in. And so I feel like that could actually be a really interesting way to do PvE as like two kits, right? This is the shadow PvE and this is the light PvE. And the shadow PvE is either fighting those Aethers, and the light PvE could be like, oh, you're doing quests and you're fighting away the darkness.
Yeah, that would be
So,
pretty neat.
so my answer to the PvE bosses question is I actually think that that it's different. It's
Mm.
it's going to be what I want to see is two different kits, like Monarch, how it has two different packs. I want to see the battle for light and the battle for dark, and that's your PvE experience.
That would be pretty interesting. That's actually brings up a pretty interesting point. We haven't had that kind of like, I think I use this word a lot nowadays, but dichotomy
Yeah.
in a set release. Shadow and light was. I mean, Monarch has its issues, but it's given me my two favorite heroes, and also two of the most powerful heroes in the game. Obviously, I picked the wrong ones, but but you know the lore wise, Light and Shadow's just like yeah, no shit, right? Like this
Yeah.
is the eternal struggle, right? And that would be kind of neat. And it's definitely something I'd like to see as well. That I had it on my list as well. Kind of like this end boss in the shadow side of things, and then I mean there is something about like even like looking at Soraya, right? That was printed recently, because you know we are in a age where sometimes angels are presented as maybe not the best, right? You know,
Right.
they have a certain kind of mission and goal that is not the best for everyone, and that is something that would be really interesting to me to explore as well. Something I also would like to see. Now I know that the three dragons,
Mm.
they're very much like conjured up by Dromai. To my knowledge, that's just what they are. But like, it feels like they're also kind of based in something else, right? Like a reality of some sorts. We're even Dromai as like kind of this like, in a way, is like a leader of these dragons, which is like a really cool kind of thing. It's tough. And this is like the one thing that I want to talk about with the PvE stuff. It's like tough to kind of include a playable hero into the PvE, which is why I like to look at like some other art from just like the game, at like heroes that we want to be heroes but haven't been. Like I look at Mars says the dragons are definitely real. They're real to me, damn it. But yeah, I look at like the Mangle Guardian.
Oh, I see.
Right, like how cool would it be to play a dungeon PvE where he is just like this end boss, like you're not getting through to you're not getting through me to get to this treasure, right? That would be pretty awesome. So like something I want to see like dragons. I want to see. I think Leviah is very set up to be kind of like a PVE end boss, to be honest, based on certain lore that we've gotten, especially when it comes to like them talking about like Bolton and Dory and stuff like that, and even like things like Cleave, right? Because Cleave mentions allies, but it's not dragons. They're not talking about dragon allies. They're talking about the undead army, and they've mentioned that a couple times, and that's very exciting. Yeah. Marcia, at the end of the assassination story, Dromai is alone in the throne room, and she hears Dracana Atamai roar.
Yeah, that actually, when you were talking about that story, the Arachne write up. Sure. Oh man, yeah, that sets Dromai up to be like a crazy end boss.
It's so cool too, right? It's just like kind of someone who kind of overcomes the odds, but then comes so sick with power, and I think that's like such an awesome plot device, and that's like what we're looking at with PvE. It's like these really like great stories to tell, because that's what you want, right? When you sit down with you and your buds and you start playing. That's where I'm at with the PvE. There's some other huge bosses like from like Arya. There's a lot of mention of like the old ones and stuff like that, and like a lot of what Oldham has had to fight in his many years alive, and that stuff's very cool to me as well, because Oldham as a character, maybe not as a playable character, is very interesting to me. I do enjoy Oldham as a playable character too, don't get me wrong, but as a character is very fascinating and presents a lot of good stories.
Yeah, what is Oldham's journey like? What is the history there? That would be a great way. And you know what? Like at the end of that PvE experience, it's Oldham telling the story to everybody around the This Round's on Me table. You know, like it's
Yeah.
like a frame story.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty awesome, right? Because that's pretty cool. Because like if you look at Arya, and this is just off the top of my head just right now, like I could be totally wrong, but you look at like Arya art, right? You get a lot of the Lexi art is a lot of hunting. It's not a lot of combat, and Briar is a lot of just nature.
Yeah,
Oldham has the like almost like
brutal.
wartime brutal like art, which is sets him up to be kind of that storyteller. Pretty cool. But I don't know if we had 5 for PvE. I think combined we had 5, and that's enough.
No, I think we got 5. There's
we got there. It's late. But let's close out the podcast. We're gonna talk just a little bit. Close it out. We've been talking for a little bit now, but I want to just talk about a deck that's been popping up. It is the Royal Dromai, right? And if the folks don't know, Royal Dromai just means that they're playing the crown, right? That gives you a gold and makes you royal. And the cool thing about it, let me actually bring it up. No, there we go. The cool thing about it, right? It plays the Crown Dominion, gives you a gold. So you're like, oh, well, why do you want the gold? And you want to, at the beginning of the game, you want to pitch 2 reds to create 2 ashes right away. Mar's giving us a quote from the story. Stone trembles beneath her feet. A roar drives her to her knees. She presses her hands to her ears, yet the rageful sound comes not from without. It resonates from her flesh, reverberates through her skull. She knows that voice, has heard it uttered through the throats of her apparitions, has sensed its whispers since the day she has set foot in the palace. Ooh, lordy.
Man, they're the writers of these stories. They do it so good.
Yeah. I mean, Ellis is doing a great job. And yes, Devin, this is a Minnesota Wild hat. I am a Flyers fan, but I do like the Minnesota Wild, and I'm feeling a little wild tonight. That's why I'm wearing it, my friend. My favorite band's from Minnesota, so like I kind of have like this soft spot for anything Minnesota, and the Wild just has the best hat, I think, and I love it. But yeah,
people come to this podcast for the headwear. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it really is. But Royal Dromai, as Mar says, is the real deal. Very cool. It kind of gives it like this little extra consistency that the Dromai was kind of like missing, right? Because much like illusionists in general, it requires some setup unless you're like balls to the wall aggro, and that's not always the best plan. So I just grabbed a random deck list because I didn't have one on hand, and I was working a lot today. Your wife's kid worker, or your wife's coworker's kid plays one. That's pretty awesome. Billowing Mirage, you're playing a lot of the aggro cards, right? Because you want to present damage a lot, but then like you still run a pretty full suite of dragons. Now, Gary, have you played much Dromai, or is this kind of like out of your league?
So we have a local player who plays a lot of Dromai. I'm pretty familiar with playing against them, so I know a lot of these cards. What I do know is that their headpiece is pretty much the flex slot.
Sure.
And so the fact that they can throw a Crown of Dominion in the matchups where Crown of Providence or Crown of Reflection might not be as useful, setting up that first 2 ash to fix a hand is often overly impactful. I haven't played against a Royal Dromai. I did play 1 or 2 games with Royal Viserai, which pretty great. But yeah, I would say that seeing this list, it makes sense, right? You need Ash to be impactful.
Yeah.
And if you have something on the battlefield that just says, oh, you can turn a bad hand into a free card and 2 ash to make a dragon. Like that seems like really good. The only problem is if you're playing against a deck that you really want to block, or like that one-off 2 ash is not going to be as impactful. Crown of Providence exists or Crown of Reflection exists, right? So yeah, I think that seeing this list, it makes sense, right? Like maybe the Crown of Dominion was designed to rest upon Dromai's head.
Kind of funny, right? Like we had just talked about
Yeah.
the lore of Dromai, and all of a sudden it makes sense that Crown Dominion is played in Dromai, which is pretty incredible.
Hold on. I'll find that list for you, Tom. Don't worry.
Oh, the Mars list, or
no.
Oh.
I think you're talking about I thought you were talking about my
Oh no, I had I was having Mar because she there we go. She said she had a list ready to go. No, this looks like to be a little bit different. Or he had no. What the hell is it called? Crown of Providence in this one. But you do have Crown of Reflection, which is quite good as well. But yeah, so Coax the Commotion. You can kind of play these like really cool.
Mage Masters too.
Well, you want Mage Masters because you're playing things like. Well, I thought I was gonna see. I honestly thought I was gonna see Toma Fiendal. But there are probably some things that I'm missing. Oh, Imperial Edict, which is great.
Energy potion. One energy potion in the hand is 2 in the bush.
As they've said, many times. Pursuit of Knowledge. Just Pursuit of Knowledge, man. This card is so good.
Oh, Pursuit's so good. If that shit blocked 3, that would be played in every deck.
Yeah, well, there would be no reason not to. No tome in this list. I was very surprised, Mar, that there was no tome in this list, but that's okay. It's mid anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Tome equals mid.
Tome equals mid. Missed another pair of boots. Snapdragon Scalers. Well, I mean. Snapdragon. I mean, the Snapdragon on. I mean, any of this stuff, right? Coax Commotion, Dust Up, E-Strike. What else we got here? Miraging Metamorph.
Wait, no Phantasmal Footsteps.
Yeah. I don't think you really need it in.
I guess not.
It's not as great in Dromai as it was in Prism.
Oh yeah.
You got Snatch in here. That's a good card.
Yeah.
This deck worries me, right?
Yeah. Tell me why.
This deck worries me because it worries me because there's so many efficient like breakpoints.
Yeah.
Like efficient cards that have good breakpoints, right? That is such an underrated thing. This is like, in a way, it's like classic Flesh and Blood meets Board Presence Illusionist with
yeah.
So, if you're a great Dromai player, which Mara is, we all know that, and you can efficiently present normal attacks with great breakpoints and like nonsense dragons that your opponent either has to pop or spend their turn getting rid of them, which is tough.
Yeah, it's a lot to commit, especially with Uvia. Uvia is just a fat dragon.
Well, she's working on it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you're right. Uvia is good. Uvia is not my favorite dragon, but it's certainly a tough one to deal with, which is the real strength of Uvia. It's tough to say. Dromai to me feels very meta dependent, right?
Yeah.
And this version of Dromai with the Crown of Dominion feels like it kind of mitigates that meta dependency.
Yeah.
In a way. So you can kind of show up and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to present tough issues." I'm sorry, Mara. Uvia isn't fat. She's pregnant. I'm sorry. I didn't want to assume. No. But
all I know is I have a hard time killing her.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely have a hard time killing her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I could very much see this version of Dromai being the favorite in ProQuest season.
For sure.
And going into the next like competitive season.
Would it make Arachne want to play Regicide?
To me, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't play one Regicide anyways. One card.
Yeah. Right. One card, blue, blocks for 3. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt, right? I mean,
right.
It has some relevant text in other matchups too, where like if you banished a bunch of stuff, they can't block it at the end of the game, which is it's scary. But I don't know. Dromai, Royal Dromai. I saw Crown Dominion. I was like, this card, it's okay, kind of cool. Start with a gold token you can cash in, and then Dromai's out here. It's like, no, we're not even gonna try to run cash in. We're just gonna
why would you?
it turn 1 and see what's going on. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, man. This is interesting.
Dromai is a nearly unwinnable matchup for Arachne. It's bad.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you can't spend your turns attacking the dragons, right? Yeah. I don't think it has to hit a hero
for Arachne. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought Dromai was
so maybe Regicide, maybe Royal Dromai actually gives Arachne a chance.
In a way. Yeah. I mean, it's just like it has something that you could just kill them with, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because there's not a lot of that in the game, right? You can't, there's not a lot of just like, oh, I'm going to lose because I can't block this. Mm-hmm. And I'm still at 40 life. I'm still going to lose. Very interesting. But I think it's going to do it for the show, Gary.
Yeah, man. It's a good show.
I think so. I think we pulled it together, honestly.
I think so.
Listen.
We pulled it together.
I'm a professional. I've been doing this for
69 episodes.
70.
70.
I already recorded 70.
Plus however many we've done of this, right?
This is like 11 or 12 of this.
70. Yeah, wow.
That was 70-11.
70. Oh, burn them all. Burn them all makes it so Regicide makes it harder to block. Just thought about that. Because burn them all requires you to banish a red.
Makes it. Oh yeah.
Like I just saw that Mara's comment. If Dromai isn't careful, she banishes all her own cards.
Wow. Oh, you can't block this? Boom, kill you. Thank you, Devin. Also, I think Dromai, if they're smart, they just run the Crown of Reflection into that matchup. They're just like, oh, well, this is might as well just remove the only way I could lose. But this has been a great episode, and we had a lot of fun. And for next week when I will kill Gary live on air, and I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Tom, you got a meal of the week?
Meal of the week? Yes. I was just at
What's your meal of the week?
My local bar, and they make a great bar pie. And if you don't know what bar pie is, it's bar pizza. But they do a special like twice a week. Like they'll do like first half of the week is one special pie, and then second half is the other. And this weekend or this week they had a Polish pizza. What does that mean? It kielbasa sausage with kraut, red onion, and like a mustard sauce of some sort. And it was was just amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it warmed my Polish heart,
Wow.
my 1/4 Polish heart.
Do you eat pierogi for Christmas?
I don't. That side of that side doesn't celebrate Christmas.
Got you.
Well, that side's mostly deceased.
Oh.
RIP. You know,
Yeah.
love you, Grandma, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it. They wouldn't have celebrated Christmas anyway. It's
Gotcha.
the Jewish side. So,
Gotcha.
what about you, my friend?
I went to this hole in the wall Korean place. I posted some pictures in the Buds Discord. It was so good. Like it's an old city. I got this kimchi paella, which is basically just like a spicy fried rice with kimchi in it. Came with the egg in the bowl that's like on fire, basically. You know,
Amazing.
the hot bowl.
I love that.
I got some honey soy fried chicken as the appetizer. So good. Paige got a bibimbap, like a tofu bibimbap. That it was just I don't know. It was so good. I'd never been there. I've just noticed it in Old City, and we walked by it the other day, and we were like, we're just looking for a place to go for a dinner, and went there. Small menu, very small menu called Bukchan, not Banchan.
Sure.
But yeah, very very small menu, very small restaurant, but like wow, great service, great food. Like the guy that was cooking the food was also the guy that was like refilling the water. That's how small it was.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, like like a Philly row home. Like pretty much the whole restaurant was like Philly row home, and the kitchen's in the middle, like first floor of Philly row home.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, so good.
I think we need to include more dishes, like more like not cutlery. What do they call dishes? Am I like blanking?
China,
No.
tableware, plateware,
plates. Well, yeah, plates. I know what plates are. We need to include more like table nonsense. That kind of has, is hot, right? Like fajitas. Yeah. Love fajitas, right? I love going to a Mexican place that's got like the like little like charcoal kind of like bowl that they heat up, and then they throw the stuff in there. It's great. We need to include that more into our dishes, but that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, we'll have to go when you're in town.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it, and we'll do it up. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll be back next week, and we'll have maybe we'll have a special Christmas episode. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see if I get it together. Actually, plug what? Who are you? plug your things.
All right. Well, I will plug who am I. I'm Gary, Mr. Viz. I'm a weirdo with a pillow that my friends gave me. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Viz. I try and be a lot more active there. Just talking about rune blades, talking about other stuff. I've done made the arcane font. I think Dead Summer also made an arcane font too. And right now I'm just, doing the Buds Discord, hanging out in there, playing a lot of games, just chilling. If you ever want just a place to hang out, whether you're new to the game, old to the game, bad at the game, great at the game, well, Tommy's one of those things. And he's in there. So yeah, I would say come in there and hang out. I'm in there almost 24/7. Just trying to have teach new people how to play the game and just hang out, because a lot of card game communities can feel very much like you have to play this deck. You have to play this deck. Why would you play that deck? That's stupid. You know what I mean? Our community, and Tommy can very much back me up, opposite. Whatever tangent somebody's running that week, somebody's there to back you up and to optimize it and try and get along with that. So, I really love that about our Discord. Would say also check out the merch that we launched this week. We got 3 weeks to buy it. Yeah, that's it. Not a good close.
I think it was beautiful, Gary. Especially on the part when you said that I was one of those things, and I know one of those things was good at the game. You can.
But I like to leave you wondering.
Yeah, well, I know. I know that. So I am Tommy Fresh. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I am. That's who I am. And then you can find me on Twitter at FreshBudsPod. And you can join the Buds Discord, which is just wonderful. And Gary had mentioned it. And, that's the nice thing about this game in general, right? You can just be like, oh, I play Kasai. I play KO, right? It doesn't matter. And that's really cool. And you can be like, hey, anybody have any advice on that kind of stuff? And the Buds are really quick to jump in on that. I recommend coming in, asking Sigma about Hexagore, and just letting them tell you everything about it, because I love it. And Sigma is the official Bud for anything Leviathan Spice, though I would say Rabbit. So Rabbit is also right up there as well. And obviously I know a thing or two, but I'm a little bit more conservative.
Unofficial.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to Leviathan. You won't catch me playing Berserk and Leviathan. I'm still an Art of War stan. But yeah, check out Fresh and Buds. Tomorrow we have Fluke and Box coming on, and next week we got Jim from Fat TCG cards. We're gonna talk about Zelia a lot next week, which is gonna be fun. I have no clue I don't even know what her effect is. So we're gonna find out. It's gonna be, come on that roller coaster with me. And then we're gonna close out the year with Hayden Dale. You might know him as Brendan Patrick's co-host on Arsenal Pass, and also the hottest man in Flesh and Blood. And what else we got here? Be good. Treat people well. And check out all the things and all the wonderful content creators. Shout out to Alex Norville, who was an account manager for Flesh and Blood, has now turned into the content creator extraordinaire for Flesh and Blood, which is very cool. And obviously, best of luck to Chris Bewley, who is moving on to bigger and better things, and we wish the best for him, and we wish the best for everyone, because we just that's who we are. But everybody, please have a good week, and check out the merch and Patreon. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bellow, 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 bellow.
Wait, we can't bellow on the way out. Maybe we can.